Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Easter special version of H2O Explains with webcams live from H2O Studios. Or H2O kind of studios. He's not in your normal recording setup here this week. Away from home, you do have a green screen and a webcam. Thought I'd turn mine on as well because there's no reason not to use this fancy stuff, I suppose. I need to get a green screen.
Yeah, well, you can even use your comforter back there. You got the blue comforter. Go for the blue
Well,
screen.
hang it up with the blue screen. And...
Yeah, it may wash out your eyes a bit, but other than that, you know.
So you're going to grab this treasure here by the looks of it, but not, well, no you're not. You're going to crack shot a cougar and then run on straight to the trading post. Right. Methodical, going to get that crack shot ability recharging.
Yep, exactly. So I crack shot the treasure because for two reasons. One, always want to have your crack shot on cooldown. Obviously, while I'm building the TP, I can't really use it for anything else. Yeah. And two, running into an 80 wood is pretty much the best treasure you can find on this map. Yeah. So I'm able to stop chopping wood right at the 20 wood mark, and then use that 80 wood to finish up my house. And this envoy does come in and attack me, and I'm kind of worried that he might find me. But
you're banking on that wood rate. That is exactly the amount you need for that house. And the envoy here, you know, he is playing Dutch. He's running his envoy. He's going to snare you. His explorer will not be building a trading post. You know that. What if he follows you?
It's true. He could be following me. I kind of ran in a way that this running back usually kind of indicates you're scared, if anything. And I also shot his envoy a couple times to kind of discourage him from chasing me. Just showing him that I'm not going to just let him follow me along and take no damage. So right now I'm going to finish up this treasure and then get the 80 wood and build my house. But I actually also see him going for this 150 coin, which I immediately react to. I immediately when I finish off these last two guardians, run my explorer over here to try to steal it.
I remember this. Yeah, this is kind of, because I remember you run a vill out as well. This is sort of high risk in terms of villager seconds. And you don't actually end up grabbing this treasure, but it's certainly worth the risk, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think my judgment should have been better to know that I wouldn't be able to get there. But I didn't realize that the wolf one of the wolves was on 1 HP. And so, you know, the worst case outcome here is what kind of happened. I didn't get to steal the treasure. And so instead I'm just going to build a house out here for a line of sight. And then I know there's also a hunt over here. I actually had my TC rallied over here anyway. So I'm coming in here and I'm just going to herd the hunt with it. So really not much time
left. Just based on the way the match is, right? So villager second's not really lost. That villager's still doing, you know, everything useful that you need to do in the early game anyway. Get a scouting house with herding some things in here. Going for a treasure. He's pretty nearby.
Yep, exactly. And so I started going for this, and I actually ran my native scout this direction to see if he was going to come. And when I saw him, I immediately kind of gave up on it. And instead, I'm coming up here for this 80 wood. And what I want to do right now, the theme of this age 1, there's kind of a unique theme here of leading his explorer, guiding his explorers to go where I want them to by using my explorer and my envoy and my scout in the right ways. So you'll see I'm always kind of at the edge of his bubble. I want to know which direction he's heading, and I want to try to manipulate him in this direction. I want to keep him away. I also pick up this 20 coin because my crack shot's actually on cooldown, I think. And because, you know, when you first see a treasure, it gives you line of sight. And if the treasure's not there, you won't get it, right? So if this 20 coin...
deny him that loss as well. Plus give him sort of no reason to follow you.
Yeah, the 20 coin would kind of bait him over here, right? And once you're here, you know, what do? You kind of come back here naturally. And so without that guiding 20 coin marker, I'm hoping he won't come this way as fast. And so I crack shot one of the bears, and I run back here. And the reason why I run back is because I want to find his explorer, because if he's walking on this path, it would be quite bad for me.
Yeah.
I know he just got the 30 coin, so I know he's in this general area. I actually start fighting
tabs on him in the whole time.
Exactly. And so I even fight this envoy here. This is an unusual fight for me to take because you don't really win this fight. Envoy punching scout is not usually good because he just has 80 extra HP. But I take this fight anyway because I want to buy the time to let my crack shot fully recharge to take this 80 wood. And so that's the entire point of me kind of taking this fight.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a good one, but...
Yeah, so, I mean, still, this entire fight is just still, you know, my exit strategy here is to, you know, focus down the envoy and then use my native scout once the fight's towards the end so he won't die, use him to kind of de-snare my explorer and
bring him in at the last moment. If he'd been there the whole time, obviously, he would have focused that guy down, he'd be dead, but bringing him at the last moment there and get the little extra attack on the envoy, and of course, the explorer, you can snare it, and so you can get away.
Yep, and now I'm away, and I'm going to even leave my native scout here just to give enough time for this guy to run fully away, because I want him to be totally out of the way. Down to the last shot, so I can pick up this treasure and then safely start my trading post after I get it.
Would you mind restarting the screen share?
Absolutely. All right, can you see again?
I can.
Fantastic. All right, so I get the 80 wood here, and now what I'm going to do is use that 80 wood. I'm going to actually, this is kind of like a modified version of Samwise 12 build. Now I think about it. So what we're doing here is we're going to use 400 wood to build a trading post and a stable instead of building the racks in the
rather
stable.
Rather than the 2 houses.
Yeah. Instead of building.
Yeah, the racks. Sorry.
Yeah, it's racks in this case. But then later, exactly, you're dead on. What this translates to is I'll have my explorer freed up to build a 3rd trading post, and then I can get stagecoach, the 3rd trading post, and a racks and a house, and also steel traps. And so what that lets me do is avoid this awkwardness in the Samwise 12 build where you build like 5 houses and extra racks, all of these things you don't really need.
Yeah, and this way you get your trading posts in, and you're doing it in a methodical order as well, so that the explorer builds that first, so that he can walk down to the next one when the 700 wood arrives, and you're investing in trading posts, which is instead of houses, right?
Yep, and those will actually give you a return, whereas if you just build houses, right, that they're nice later, but I can set these trading posts to wood, which will then pay for themselves and all my future housing, and I just end up with, it's 4 villas a trading post. That number is thrown around a lot. That's if you put them on wood, which you should be doing at all times. If you put them on wood, then you get 4 villas, so it's like 12 villas, right, that I get at a time. Put
them on wood and task everything else to the other resources you need, because wood is definitely the most efficient one. We all know that.
Yep, and so another thing I want to mention on this game, a little bit sloppy for me, kind of mechanically or macro-wise. You'll notice I queue up 2 hussars here, and I could have a villain queue this entire time. And it's little things like this that actually make a huge difference in how a good player plays versus just an average one. Ice lost half a vill there for no reason. The other thing I wanted to point out.
This guy's low HP.
Yeah, he's low HP, but at the same time, I know I actually came over and checked this when he started attacking, and I thought, I'll at least be able to finish up the TP, and he'll have served his purpose, so that's nice, right? I mean, once I've built all 3 TPs with him, and I got 160 wood, yeah,
he's gone. We don't need him anymore. No.
Exactly, right? I mean, the French aren't too kind to their founding fathers, but they're just hanging him out to dry out here. And so what I do now with my 4 cav, I send them out here, and the big reason I come here is because there's nothing else really to do. I don't know what he has, and I've never been a player who is good enough at watching their cav to kind of like just aimlessly run them into black fog and hope that they don't have cav. So but at the same time, what you'll notice is, so I set all my TPs to wood here, but also noticed I didn't have a lot of coin, so I'm gonna need to change them to coin in a little bit. And but you'll notice what I do, keep that in mind, I run my cav up in a group of 4 and then get off an attack. And the reason why I'm doing that is to kill the explorer as fast as possible. And the reason why I want to kill him fast is because I don't want to get caught by cav and let his explorer get away, because I feel the cav coming. But then anyway, I do exactly what I normally don't do. I kind of continued into the fog, because really his cav should have been here to save this by now. I'm not sure why they weren't. And my scout also sees 2 banks immediately and a market in line of sight. So I thought he might even be doing a greedy build where he does stable super late. So I run it. And we'll watch my view from this point on, because I actually do get caught by the cav here. And you'll see right there, I'm cycling my TPs, and that's when I get caught. And it was a really fast cycle, but it was just like 1 second. And we can talk in a dull moment about how that happens, but I noticed that this one hussar, by some miracle, didn't get attacked, and so I pulled him out of that situation manually. And you'll see I'm babysitting each hussar individually. We'll keep the view lock on. And now that I'm safe, I actually regrouped them back together, and I pulled them back to my base.
Yeah. Instant classic. Don't look away from your military units when you're sending them out. Always keep tabs on them. Always look. If you have to manage your economy, always pull your cavalry back. Obviously, you know all of these things, but very mistakes that are made often by newer players, and certainly ones that I'll make a lot on stream and get a bad rap for when I stream. So just a classic of that happening, really, and to you in this game, which is obviously a very meaningful game. But you handled it very well. You got 2 hussars out, whereas you could have lost all of them. Yep,
exactly, and it was good that I was able to get them out. I think I got a little bit lucky to be able to pull them out. Another thing is, the entire goal for me in this matchup was actually to make him have to send 8 pikes, which, this is a small raid, but that was my game plan. He kind of did that for me by sending aggressive 8 pikes, because I had already failed on that front. I mean, I'm so mismacroed with 700 coin, I could easily have outright 5 more Hussar on this patch, and 5 muskets right now.
If you built that house, you had the wood for it, yeah, you could have done.
Yeah, and
that didn't happen for you.
Yeah, and all game long...
You slammed all the villagers down, you're like, I want this damn house.
Yeah, all game long has been riddled with these kind of mistakes for me, right? I mean, I need another house, I've got the coin, why did I just buy 100 wood? Like, I have a market, just buy 100 wood, get the next house up. But, I've got Bill standing around kind of sloppy. If you look at this cav, like, the fact that those walked in and just, like, I was, just AFK engaged, right? So... But I try to do the best I can after, in the midst of each of these mistakes. So in that way, this is kind of a cool video because we can kind of see how do you save yourself in mistake situations. And so here I'm pulling back. I'm way outnumbered because I'm mismacroed, and I'm trying to fight the choke.
No use now, nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to fight in this choke here. He's trying to pull me out of the choke naturally. I keep pulling back into the choke and then turning. And what I want to do is just A, keep the Minutemen fully engaged, and B, keep these pikes on kind of the outskirt. Plus, I also have reinforcing cav. Yeah, exactly. So every second that this fight is delayed is another second for these cav to get closer to coming. And so you'll notice these 4 pikes in the back really didn't get to do much value. They've been engaged on a grand total of 3 Hussars now, I think. And other than that, the pikes haven't really done very much. And Minutemen have almost cleaned them all up now. Yep, I got Town Center fire, Minutemen fire, and I've also been able to keep constant build production in here. I lost 1 build. And if you think about how many units I actually had in this situation versus how many he lost, I mean, I came out really cost effective here. And that's reflected by the resources in bank. I've got 500 wood just sitting here waiting to be spent. 400 coin, 300 food, and I still cleaned up the fight. This 1 HP Hussar, he did a good job of saving this. He's not going to let me catch it, unfortunately. And what's kind of interesting, so you'll see I'm coming out here, right? What I want to do is get my TP back up, and I'm still going to keep making units because what I want to do is go for this timing attack. But basically, there's going to be a small window when he hits Fortress where I can attack him for a lot of damage with Hussar and muskets. The fact that I saw those Hussar changes my behavior with this. I was going to go around here and try to cut off that 1 HP Hussar right there, but because I saw the 5 coming, I backed this one away as you should. And yeah, but I mean, I'm just reestablishing the TP line. I'm going to keep building units here, with the entire goal being to make that timing attack happen. But I kind of have to play...
Do you want to tell us more about those 8 pikes you wanted him to send? Why was it you wanted to force him to send that?
Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to force him to send those 8 pikes is because the Dutch bank kind of advantage is really strong in early Fortress. And so the longer you can delay them from getting to Fortress, the more vills both of us will have. Yeah. And that kind of mitigates that early Fortress advantage. And so, every minute that we spend in Colonial is just more time for me to be training CDB.
And you wanted to force him to send it to keep him in Colonial.
Yep, and so here I'm just trying to catch Cav. Like, he made a smart player by trying to clean up my low HP Cav. I'm just trying to catch Cav, catch raids here. I've got Hussar coming out here to catch these raids. And really the entire goal of this situation here was just to kind of get him off of my back because he had more Cav than I did running around. I was just trying to, get my muskets in the right position to catch him. He does run some Cav back in here, which is actually really good for him because it bought him a bunch of time to pull in his other 4 reinforcing Hussar.
It stops you from engaging them there because of their terrain, so those other 5 can catch up, and that way he doesn't lose them all. That's nice from him.
Yep, and he even jammed them together here. So he actually had 3 Hussar attacking only 2 here effectively because of the way he positioned. It was just a really nice spot for him to end up in.
He's got you.
And now he's got me snared, right? So I've got TC Fire. I just want to get him off of me. TC Fire is starting to go off here. I do have a 3 Hussar card and 3 Hussar being built, so that'll be nice for me. But once again, mismacroed, right? I need housing space to be able to finish off my batch of 5. And I even walk up. If I lose this Ville, that'd make me quite sad. I don't think you would lose that. Yeah, he's safe. But my musket's coming here and save the day. And basically, at this point, I'm just trying to catch his Cav. Still the same story as before. Cav running in every direction, trying to catch him.
That's something you seem to be quite good at. Those 3 came out of the stable. You knew exactly where they wanted to go. The 3 just arrived at the town center. You knew exactly where they want to go. It looks like you're really focusing on trying to catch these 3 guys.
Yep, and it was a little sloppy of me. These 3 Hussar ideally would have pathed up this way to catch these 2. But, good job by him being active with it and getting them out of there, and kind of a sloppy by me letting them go. But what's interesting about this, if you look at the way that these units are pathed, like the flags that they're taking, I'm not sure where they are pathed to right now. Let's see. Where are you? I wish I could find the flag. They're pathed somewhere up in here.
Yeah.
Oh, they're changing, that's why. They're pathed over here to try to catch the 2 cav. And the reason why they're pathed over here now is because I feel like he's going to have reinforcing cav coming to get them. But then my native scout got over here and saw the stable, so I was able to see if they came out. And so what I immediately do is I can just kind of feel that he's aging right now. Otherwise, he would have been turning by now. So I've already started to rally all these units over to here, so that way I can get that timing push. And what that does is it gets me 15 to 20 seconds of time where my muskets are in his base earlier than if I had ran them up in here and gotten kind of lost in the fray.
Trying to catch those Hussar.
Exactly.
Do you want to say more about that? You can tell he's aging with these Hussar and the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, well, his demeanor has changed quite a bit. He's running away. My native scout was on the stable too. I didn't really see any cav recently. And so my goal here is just to kind of get out one final hurrah of, a couple more muskets, a couple more cav, and rally everything into his base so that way I can age behind it with the fast age up politician.
And being in his base, yeah. So he's posturing differently with his units, and that tells you about his intentions to age up. And obviously, that you mentioned this a lot. There's that window of time, that opportunity you have to do a lot of damage to them when they're aging, or just as they age, before they can get shipments and units out.
Exactly, and we'll keep that in mind when that moment comes in about 30 seconds or so. Another thing I wanted to point out, what I think I'm going to do here is pull all these vills and block this cav, and it's a small thing I can do, right? You just block your vills in the way and pathing block them, but it gets you 400 resources, right? This block here just, oh yeah, just get caught.
MLG
totally
plays.
Caught, and I catch this Hussar in the hand attack one time, and then I'm done, and I go back to hunting. And this actually forces him to turn and fight, and when he does, you'll notice he's trying to run away still, kind of, and he just takes the fight. The way that this cav fight played out tells me there's no more reinforcing cav coming, right? He didn't try to delay it. He just said, screw it, I'm fighting.
Yeah, he would have kept running, right, towards the 5 cav that had just been trained, walking in that direction, so they could join the group and make a group of 7. I see, and they weren't doing that. That tells you more that he's aging.
Yep.
Because he didn't have cav in train, so he'd be using those to spend up logically. So things like that, and that picked you up 400 resources, as you mentioned. That's a lot if you think about it, just for really all you did was move your villages.
Exactly. And coming in here now, I've got my cav in here early, actually, which has done 2 things. One, it's pushed, it's going to kill me 3 vills at least right here, but then I've also pulled 9 vills off of resources here, and he's got 10 skirmishers incredibly exposed, whereas in about 15 seconds he'll have some riders on the field, he'll be in a better position to defend. But what I'm able to do is just kind of, what I do is I'm able to get like 5 cav on these skirms just to do damage to him, while my musket's coming from the back, and I'm focused on vills, because I know I'll be up soon, and I know I'll be able to fight his army soon, but when I get up, this army will be useless. What I really want to do is just as much economic damage as possible.
You managed to get in here early because you thought he was aging up from the way he was posturing, so you sent all these cav, those 3 that you mentioned, to engage those vills sooner, 15 seconds sooner, and that means you got that whole skirmishes.
Yep, I got that whole batch of skirmishers, so that was 7 skirms. Actually, 8, I end up getting all of them, so it was 10 skirms. And also I got, at least 6 or 7 vills, maybe even 8, I'm not sure how many I got, but it was a lot of vills. And you'll notice I also send my cav back here. I'm just looking for hunts, anything that he could possibly be gathering with. Yeah. I want to keep all of his vills idle, and I also want to buy time. I want to buy time because I'm going to be up later, so I need some time just to get out a batch of units from my military buildings.
Yeah. He's going to get some, his shipments will arrive. He is Dutch after all. He's still got those banks of resources he needs to spend. He'll be popping out lots from his buildings, and the counter push will be coming, right? That's what you're trying to buy time for.
Yep. And that's also the deal with these muskets, right? Just the fact that I was able to catch the skirms and keep these. I've got 10 musketeer type units alive right now, running around up here causing havoc and buying time. This Hussar is also here to buy some time too, right? He's gonna end up dying for pretty much nothing, I would guess. 1 auto, nice. Oh, and look, I even ran it away. Like, I'm controlling these just to buy time. I want to keep this engagement rolling as long as possible so I can do things like send 1,000 wood and then send 8 skirm. Yeah. And it pays off quite a bit because I have quite a few vills up here that are potentially vulnerable.
You're delaying going there, I see.
Yep, so this buys time, which is exactly what I needed to do. And not to mention, I mean, I kill a couple of units here, which is more than you could hope for from Colonial Muskets against a Reuter mass, usually. So, you know, I've got my couple batches of units out now. And the nice thing about this, too, is, you know, Reuters don't really do that much damage to Vills, so all I need is just a couple of units out just to deter him from standing totally for free, right? Because if he's taking any damage, then he'll want to run.
So French Vills especially, these guys.
Yeah, they're like muskets,
turn
basically.
around with them, with covering fire from the skirmishes, which are very strong against Reuters, as we know, multipliers there, and you know, so you've got some units out. So yeah, he's just not going to be able to. Then you can walk straight back to that mine or whatever resource you want with those Vills. So, you know, all of that buying time, that's what that was for. You wouldn't have had that supporting fire, and those Vills would have been vulnerable otherwise.
Exactly, and actually, I'm pretty sure I would end up bringing back to this hunt, maybe, or maybe even this mine. We'll see what I end up doing with them. But another interesting thing I wanted to point out, I'm not a big fan of putting my goons in hand attack ever. They're kind of like this hidden cost. You may have noticed that when they were, before this moment, they were very tightly packed as Reuters, but when they went back to ranged mode, now they're in this like kind of staggered mode kind of formation. And I really hate stagger mode. What it does is it kind of spreads out your power. It's not compact, and so it's a lot easier to get a Reuter picked off on the corner, you know, by a skirm. And in a lot of these high-level situations, having that spread, sure, it's a little bit better against cannons, but it's a lot worse against what happens most of the game, which is like, you know, 20 skirms poking at the edge of you, just trying to get a volley off. And so it's actually kind of a hidden cost of putting your goons in hand attack, and I actually avoid it at all costs just because of how cumbersome they get when you have the stagger mode.
And when you switch them back to range, like they don't fix themselves. They just stay all staggered.
They're never the same. Exactly. It's like
so that's a bug.
I think it might be a bug.
And you avoid doing it because, as a result of, well, the way that functions, regardless if it's a bug, that you don't do it because of that.
Yeah, I think it's a bug, and I really try to avoid doing that at all costs. It looks like it might even fix itself if you like add in more of the ones that haven't had that happen.
And that's an example there of what they should look like.
This is exactly what they should look like, and
that's you don't want them fanned out because it's to grab them, and it makes it more difficult for your opponents to get a big blast off in one location. You know, it spreads their power out, right? Harder to get a surround or a concave.
Exactly. And so Two Fox also just came in here. And what he's trying to do right now, he knows he's behind, and a lot of really good players who are behind will kind of do stuff like this. They'll try to raid their way back into the game or distract their way back into the game. What I end up doing here is the overall posturing of everything I'm doing is geared towards getting the Falcons over to here slow rolling, which is kind of just like unpacking and, you know, just sitting there at max range and firing those buildings while trying to contain them. But you'll notice I do is actually run my goons through this gap, and then I run my skirms up through this gap here. And the goal is to kind of catch him in retreat with the slow-moving skirms, while the fast-moving goons who can actually pursue are going to chase him that way.
So if he tries and walks into that gap, you'll get like maybe a volley or two of skirms off before he goes, oh shit, there's skirms, I better run that the other way now.
Yeah, exactly. And so while trying to do that, though, what ends up happening here, his 3 new Reuters actually get line of sight of this, and so I'm sure I get to clean those up, but I think it actually probably changes the way he was going to run away from this fight. The Falconet's even cleaning up one of the Reuters there.
Execution.
Yeah, executed.
Yeah.
And so...
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so... You know, at this point, you can tell he's trying to run me around. I have nothing up here anymore, so I just don't really care, right? I mean, it's just 15 Reuters or so. And what I really want, what he's really trying to do is delay the inevitable, which is this massive ball of units coming in here and setting up shop, while he tries to finish up booming, right? He's trying to add his additional banks. He's got stables coming up, but really, he's only got 10 skirms, and I've got 20 or so, plus the 2 Falcons, plus as many goons as he has Reuters. So I've got this significant advantage, and if he can run me around, I can't use it. But if I just kind of ignore these and make the trade,
you just want to go sit on his infrastructure, start sieging this stable down, get your units nearby.
Yep.
You run these goons in up towards those villages, keep them off, and just really force him to react in a way that stops him, in a meaningful way that will stop him from just losing stuff here and just.
Exactly. Like, he can't afford to be here right now, and this is kind of similar.
He's getting a lot of vills, which is. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's got 6 here, and this is very similar to the Aztec game where, sure, like, he just chose to raid with these at a time when he couldn't. He really had to be on the retreat back because, as you can see, sure, he's killed 6 CDB, but what I've done is I've killed probably 4 or 5 vills, and I've ran effectively 20 vills. These vills are just walking around aimlessly, right? 20 vills that are totally idle right now, and they're caught out, so like they're just continuing to die. Well, the Falcons are in the back lines, you know, they're killing stables, they're killing buildings, and you know, really, the 6 CDB I lost are not worth the cost that he's paying over here. So a lot of players will make this mistake. If you have a slow military like the skirmisher lead or a falconet lead like this, you got to use it like in his base. You can't be trying to chase down a smaller number of goons, otherwise you just give him all the time in the world. And I see that happen a lot with games. It's one of the more frustrating things to see. It's just, you know, if he had just moved out, he could have won. But yeah, so as you know, as a result of, you know, a long game of getting, you know, a good exchange in here with the pikes, several good catches on raids across the map, and then that one timing where I came into his base, I kind of got in this position where I had a huge military lead, and then I closed that military lead out into a win by, you know, parking the Falcons here and forcing something to happen instead of letting the raids kind of run me
the
around.
word parking in Falcons, it's just, I find that so amusing, just think, yeah, I'm just going to sit right here with my Falcons.
Yeah, and another thing about Falcons, actually, while we're on that
exactly
point.
It, though. It's the siege, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way to use Falcons. You don't, for me, Falcons are almost like mortars. Like, they're kind of like an H2 mortar more than anything. Like, a lot of times Falcons, like, people avoid getting hit by Falcon shots with their army like the plague, right? So, like, you may as well just, you know, keep the Falcons active in a place where they can just be on cooldown shooting at buildings until the moment where the fight begins, rather than just kind of standing there hoping to get a shot off, right?
They force a reaction. They're very good at doing that, and they're not very good at moving around, and that's what you don't like seeing. You want to see them just, you know, park up somewhere and just start rolling out damage and doing what they're good at. But that was game number 4 in this series, I believe. Yes, it is game number 4 between LordRaphael and H2O for the H2O Explains. We have another one of these. Do let us know if you liked it. Press the like button if you did. Me and H2O definitely read all the feedback on these videos. We do enjoy looking at that. Let H2O know if you'd like him to do more of these, spend more of his Easter in his free time doing this. But aside from that, unless you have anything to add...
No, nothing at all. Thanks for watching, guys.
See you next time.